The sergeant contacted the victim, identified as 69-year-old Paul Kessler, a Thousand Oaks resident, who was lying on the ground. Mr. Kessler was conscious and responsive. The sergeant observed what he saw was bleeding from the head and mouth. Medical personnel from the Ventura County Fire Department arrived on the scene and began providing aid to Mr. Kessler. Mr. Kessler was then transported to a local hospital by paramedics for advanced medical treatment. Mr. Kessler remained conscious while being transported to the hospital. The suspect was identified, willingly remained at the scene, and was interviewed by deputies. The suspect was cooperative and indicated he was involved in an altercation with Mr. Kessler. The suspect further stated that he was one of the reporting parties who called 911 requesting medical attention for Mr. Kessler. Several witnesses were contacted at the northwest corner of the intersection where the Shell gas station is located, and they were interviewed. These witnesses providing conflicting statements about what the altercation and who the aggressor was. Some of the witnesses were pro-Palestine, while others were pro-Israel. During the investigation at the scene, deputies determined that the altercation with Mr. Kessler, he fell backward and struck his head on the ground. What exactly transpired prior to Mr. Kessler falling backward isn't crystal clear right now. At 2:53, a patrol deputy and sergeant arrived at the hospital and were told that Mr. Kessler had succumbed to his injuries. At 3 a.m., investigators from the Major Crimes Bureau were notified of the circumstances surrounding Mr. Kessler's death, and they immediately launched an investigation. Yesterday afternoon, detectives obtained a search warrant for the suspect and the suspect's residence. At 4:58 p.m., detectives conducted a traffic stop on the vehicle driven by the suspect in the city of Simi Valley. The suspect was detained and until the completion of the search warrant, and he was released at 6:15 p.m. During the detention of the suspect, detectives executed a search warrant at the suspect's residence in the city of Moorpark. I cannot comment on the results of that search warrant as the investigation is ongoing. Investigators have not ruled out the possibility of a hate crime, and this is being investigated as a homicide. Investigators from the Sheriff's Major Crimes Bureau and the Thousand Oaks Investigations Bureau are committed to continuing to locate and interview witnesses to the event or individuals who are present or nearby that might have helpful information to provide.